For 3 days, England had no ruler. The old queen was dead, the throne was empty, and the woman who was supposed to be next was sitting in a garden, quietly waiting for soldiers to come arrest her. They had done it before. The men arrived, riding hard. She stood up slowly and braced herself. And then every single one of them knelt in the mud in front of her. Her sister was dead. The woman they had once called a bastard, locked in a prison and left to rot, was now the Queen of England. What followed was 45 years that nobody saw coming. A woman with no husband, no backup, and no one she fully trusted, running the most dangerous kingdom in the world. She survived assassination plots. She defeated the greatest war fleet ever built. She said no to every king in Europe for 40 straight years. And the real reason she said no? Nobody figured that out for 400 years. Stay till the end, because that answer changes everything you think you know about her. To understand Elizabeth, you have to go back to when she was not even 3 years old. Her father was King Henry V, the most powerful, most feared man in any room he ever walked into. He had 6 wives. He had 2 of them executed. One of those 2 was Elizabeth's mother. Henry decided he was done with her, had her taken to the Tower of London, and had her killed. Elizabeth was a toddler. She was too young to understand what happened, but old enough to spend the rest of her life carrying it. She learned one lesson before she could even read properly. Nobody is completely safe, and nobody is completely trustworthy, not even family. Her father died when she was 13. Her brother became king. Then he died too. Her older half-sister Mary took the throne, and Mary did not like Elizabeth one bit. Elizabeth was younger, more popular, and people whispered she was the real queen. So Mary had her arrested on charges of treason. They took her to the Tower of London, the same building where her mother had been killed, and locked her in a cell. She was 20 years old. Think about what that actually feels like. Not a bad week, not a rough patch. Actual soldiers outside your door and tomorrow not promised. She stayed completely calm. She answered every question carefully. She gave them nothing to use against her. After 2 months, they had to let her go. She walked out of that tower on her own 2 feet, and she never forgot a single day she spent inside it. For 4 years after that, she disappeared completely. Small house, quiet life, no moves, no drama. And I know that sounds easy, but think about what that actually takes. You just survived something that should have killed you, and instead of fighting back, you have to sit still and wait. Elizabeth understood something most people never learn, that patience is not weakness, it is power. When the timing is not right yet, she waited. And then one afternoon, she heard hoofbeats in the distance. The men arrived. They did not reach for chains. They knelt. Everything she had survived had been leading to this exact moment. She was 25 years old, and she was Queen of England. London went wild. People lined the streets, threw flowers, wept openly, because they had suffered for years, and here was this young woman riding through the city like she had been born for this moment. But the cheering crowds were the easy part. The moment she sat down to actually run the country, everything hit at once. England was nearly broke. France was threatening. Spain was watching. And her own court, full of men who believed women simply were not built for this kind of work, was already waiting for her to fail. She walked into her first council meeting, looked around that long table, and told them she had the heart of a king and would not be told what she could not do. Nobody argued after that. Over the next 20 years, she rebuilt England from almost nothing. She backed explorers who opened trade routes nobody had touched. She restored the royal finances. She created an atmosphere where art exploded. Shakespeare wrote his greatest plays while Elizabeth sat on that throne. And through all of it, the proposals kept coming. Every king in Europe tried his luck. Spain, France, Austria, one after another for 40 straight years. She smiled at every single one of them and said no. Her advisors lost their minds. They told her England needed an heir, told her she was being reckless and irresponsible. She listened to every word and went back to running the country. Then Spain stopped being polite. King Philip built the largest war fleet the world had ever seen. 130 warships, 30,000 soldiers, all pointed directly at England. Every advisor told her the same thing: make a deal. This is not a fight you can win. Elizabeth got on a horse instead. She rode out to where 20,000 of her own soldiers were waiting, cold, scared, staring at the horizon, and she spoke to them. She said she knew she was just a woman, but she would live or die right there beside every one of them, because this was their country, and it was not going anywhere. The Spanish Armada never made land. A storm tore through their fleet so violently that half their ships sank before a single real battle was ever fought. England was safe, and in that one moment, Elizabeth became something bigger than a queen. She became a legend while she was still alive. But here is the part that makes her a real human being, and not just a painting on a wall. There was one man she actually loved, Robert Dudley, her closest friend since childhood, the one person she trusted without thinking twice. She could not marry him. The politics made it impossible, and she knew it would cost her everything she had built. So she kept him close as her advisor, her companion, the person she leaned on when the weight of everything got too heavy, and she never let herself have more than that. Most of us have faced some version of that choice, where what you want and what you have to do are pulling you in completely opposite directions. Most of us face it once, maybe twice in a lifetime. Elizabeth lived inside that choice for 50 years. When Robert finally died, they found a short note from her in his room. On the outside, in her own handwriting, she had written 3 words, his last letter. She had kept it next to her bed until the day she died. The woman who said no to every king in Europe had loved one man her entire life, and she never told a single soul. She ruled for 45 years. She never married, never named an heir until her very last breath. And when she finally went, quietly, in a chair, near a fire, the world felt every bit of the gap she left behind. The age she created was named after her. Shakespeare. Global exploration. A small broke island that became the beginning of an empire. She built all of it alone, with nothing but the nerve she found in a prison cell at 20 years old, and a promise she made to herself that nobody else ever heard. She looked at everything, trying to destroy her, and she said, "Not yet." And then she got to work. If her story moved you, you are already in the right place. Hit subscribe and join the Life Graphy family. We tell real stories like this every single week. And drop a comment below right now. Which moment hit you the hardest? Was it the prison cell, the Armada speech, or the letter she kept next to her bed till the very end? Tell us down below. We read every single one.